Welcome back to the Man United stream. It's Saturday morning and we are feeling happy. It feels like the best weekend ever. That's because we've got a medical booked in for Bryan Mbeumo. Yes, it's happening this afternoon. We've heard he's going to be attending Carrington for his medical. It's great news. This is what Man United fans have been waiting for. Seriously, it's taken over a month to get this deal done and it finally feels like it's a big weight lifted off your shoulders. Every day you're like looking at the social media feeds, you're looking everywhere to see, you're speaking to people to see what's going on, when is it going to get done, and you're getting different reports from different journalists and different people. So one football journalist saying one thing about the deal being stuck because of something else, and the other one saying that there's no valuation agreed and they're millions of pounds away from each other when it comes to valuations. Who do you believe? It's really difficult, but you have to cut the crap out and see what it genuinely is. Now look, there's lots of intrinsic stuff that goes on in these transfers. Yes, for us outside, it's the final figure of 71 million, and you know that's 65 million plus the 6 million add-on, and we think that's it. But within that deal, there's so much more detail, so much to be discussed. Exactly what the add-ons are, how they will be paid, how the actual fee of 65 million will be paid. So these transfers are never as simple as just making a call or turning up with a valuation and saying, right, this is our best offer and let's go. That's it. Yeah, it never happens like that. It takes weeks. It does take time. Sometimes clubs are working behind the scenes on deals for a long time before they even get done. So when you hear players like Wirtz going to Liverpool and stuff, you think, oh my God, that's happened just overnight. It hasn't. Liverpool have worked on these kind of deals for a long time. Same thing with Matheus Cunha. Man United had worked on it for a long time before we got the news. It did feel like it was just a quick transfer, but that was because United had already been working behind the scenes to get him in. We heard rumours and reports of that even before the season was over. But overall, having spoke to lots of Man United fans in the last 24 hours, everyone is just relieved, isn't it? I mean, I felt like I had a decent night's sleep because of this news. I've just felt like things were going in the right direction, and we are all, Man United fans are all emotionally connected to the club. When they're winning, we love it. When, it just puts you in a good mood. It's your club and you want them to do well and you want them to go and sign players that can make a difference. And last night I was watching Statman Dave, shout out to him. He was doing a video on how good this guy is and all his stats and everything, and he just fits the bill, exactly what Man United were looking for. And to get him when United have got no Champions League and have finished in the bottom half of the Premier League is a massive coup in itself. So look, hats off to the people at United behind the scenes who've done this work to get him in. Now look, we are all in agreement. Glazers out. They're completely shit. Awful owners. We want them out. We want that 75% ownership gone. Okay? Ineos, the jury's still out on them. We know that Ineos are penny pinchers. We know that for a fact, yeah? But have they done the right things when it comes to appointing people who know about football? Absolutely. That's one thing you have to accept that they have done. They've brought in the likes of Jason Wilcox. They brought in Dan Ashworth, obviously got rid of him for whatever reason, personal reasons. And then they brought in Omar Barada. And these guys have made a huge difference to Man United. They've got a vision. They know exactly what they're doing. They know what a player is and, how much they should be paying for him. And things like that make a difference. So we've got people who know what they're doing running the club. We had for years under the Glazers just random people walking in, not knowing about football, running the club and buying players left, right and centre who were never going to fit into the Man United system. Feeling the deal with Mbeumo and Brentford finally is great news. It is genuinely great news and we can move on, and United immediately started looking for a striker. They've got several positions they need to sort out. We all know they need a striker, they need a goalkeeper. Onana's out for months and they need someone, and this might be that opportunity. I mean, Ruben Amorim, of course, has probably wished for this to happen. Ruben Amorim's been thinking, how the hell do I convince the board that we need a new goalkeeper after United have just signed him a few years ago for such a huge amount of money? So how do I convince them, look, this guy's not the right keeper, we need somebody else? And finally he's got that break where Onana's been injured and he can actually convince the board, like, look, we need to go out there and maybe spend 25 million or around that mark to go and get a new goalkeeper. Emi Martinez is his preferred choice. We're being told there are other options United are looking at in the goalkeeper department, so it's not just Emi Martinez, although there's a correlation right now with all the transfers that we're doing. Man United and the people behind the scenes, Omar Berrada, Jason Wilcox, they're going for proven Premier League players, and that's why even in the striker positions they're looking at Ollie Watkins more favourably than they are Benjamin Sesko. That's what we're being told. United are looking for a Premier League proven striker, someone who knows exactly what's expected of them in the Premier League and won't take time in just adjusting, because you've seen it. You've seen players that come in from other leagues, foreign leagues, they come in and it takes them a season or two to settle down. We've seen it with Højlund and Zertsky and others. It takes too long. We haven't got a whole season. We need a striker to come in and hit the road running, hence why Ollie Watkins ticks those boxes. Look, we all have now found out what United's game plan was before the summer transfer window opened. They were going to go for Delap, Matheus Cunha and Bryan Mbeumo. That was their trio that they were going to go after and change the forward line. However, not being able to get Delap put a bit of a spanner in the works for United's plan, and they had to pivot and had to go for Mbeumo and then sort out the striker situation later on. They didn't have really a second option. They were thinking about Ollie Watkins, I'm being told. However, they were hoping that they were actually convinced that they were going to get Delap, but Delap did a complete U-turn on them and went off to Chelsea. But look, I'm not complaining about Delap. I'm happy that he's gone to Chelsea. I wasn't even convinced that he was a good player in the first place. Look, I want a striker who wants to play for United through and through, not someone who's there just to tick the boxes and say, right, okay, yeah, I'll go because they're paying me. I want someone to come to United who genuinely wants to play for United and for the bad. So United are currently busy looking at strikers. We're being told that they already know who they're going to go for. They just want to make sure that sales get done before they go and make the final move for a striker. They need to have some money in the bank, which they haven't got. Hence why they're now concentrating, they have been actually for some time, concentrating on getting sales done. Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho, Anthony, Malacia. We're talking about all these players who they want to sell, and nothing really has come of these sales so far. They've all stalled. Real Betis are out of the picture when it comes to Anthony. We were hoping that Anthony's adopted father, Ten Hag, would come in and make an offer for him, because he's now the new manager of Bayern Leverkusen, who lost, by the way, 5-1 in their first game under Ten Hag. Not a very good start, is it? But anyway, so Ten Hag, we were hoping might come for Anthony, hasn't done so. There's other clubs that are sniffing around Anthony, because Anthony did have an exceptional season out on loan to Betis. Jadon Sancho, we were hoping that we'd get a here we go now in this week, actually, with Jadon Sancho going to Juventus, but that hasn't seemed to have come either, so which is really odd. And then Marcus Rashford, the big one. Marcus Rashford, we're not quite sure what's going on with him, because the reports were Barcelona were interested, but they've not made any official contact with United. They have spoken to Marcus Rashford's agents and his team, but they have not made any official contact with Man United about signing Marcus Rashford, which tells us that Barcelona are going to probably try and come in and swoop for a loan deal for Marcus Rashford in the last minutes of the transfer window. I'm not keen on this. Let us know in the comments below what you think of this. Would you just allow Marcus Rashford to go on loan to Barcelona, or would you want a full sale? I think United, in this current state of affairs, with the PSR, with the financials, need a full sale on Marcus Rashford. It'll allow them to go and sign more players. And look, we need to be pushing for a full sale. If we can't get a full sale, it's not going to leave United in a good financial position. That is it for today's show, guys. Make sure you hit the like button on this video. Make sure you subscribe. You watching the Man United Stream channel by the fans for the fans.